Y'all ain't gonna believe what's happening right now in the rap game. Straight up, this one's wild. Word on the street is that D4v, yeah, the same D4v who've been running up streams and talking that heavy talk online, just got hit with something nobody saw coming. And here's the kicker: his own parents. They came forward, apologized, and straight up snitched on their son. I'm not even kidding. This ain't a rumor or some weak tabloid story. I got people telling me the courtroom was tense, cameras flashing, and every eye in the room was locked on D4v like he was some movie villain walking into his final act. Let me tell you what really went down. People think this is just another headline. Rapper in trouble, family drama, legal issues. Nah, this right here, it's layers deep. We talking about loyalty getting shredded, trust getting tested, and a family caught between love and the law. Some say it started with a simple argument: money, respect, maybe even ego, and escalated so fast that nobody could stop it. Clips leaked online, D4v talking slick in his DMs, his crew on edge. You could see the tension in the comments before the charges even hit. And the streets. They ain't even sure who to ride for no more. Y'all seen that moment when you realize everything you thought you knew about someone is flipping upside down. That's this situation. And the truth? It ain't just about D4v getting sentenced. Nah, it's about what people will do when the system comes knocking, when loyalty cracks, and when the ones closest to you decide their own survival matters more. What's coming next? Way deeper than it looks. Stick with me, because this story's about to unfold, and trust me, it's gonna sting. Y'all already feel me when I say this one's gonna blow up, right? D4v ain't just some name in the rap game no more. He's the headline, the tweet storm, the conversation that got the comment section heated like a Friday night block party. But before the cops, before the courtroom, before the fans even knew, this whole thing started in the kind of place nobody really sees. I'm talking behind closed doors, text messages, whispered arguments in hallways, and a tension that could have cut with a knife. From what I'm hearing, D4v's rise was rapid, almost too rapid. One minute he's spitting bars in his bedroom with a few friends filming on a shaky phone. The next, he's getting booked for features with some of the biggest names in the city. Money flowing, ego swelling, attention shifting from local streets to Instagram Reels and YouTube premieres. And somewhere in that globe, the cracks started to show. It began small, some late-night texts his parents saw, some questionable moves with people he called his team, whispers about cash and deals gone sideways. But the thing about D4v? Loyalty ain't just a word in his world, it's currency. And when loyalty gets tested, the fallout, don't wait. His parents, who most people assumed were just the supportive types posting stories of him in the studio, apparently saw more than we did. More than any fan, more than any casual observer could imagine. And what they saw, well, it didn't sit right with them. I got people telling me there was a particular night, one that nobody's fully talked about, where everything started to spiral. D4v was in the studio, headphones on, but there was tension in the room you could feel through the speakers. His manager was pacing, his crew was whispering in the corner, and his parents, they were in the back, arms crossed, faces cold. Somebody said something, a word that shouldn't have been said, and the room went from quiet to electric in a heartbeat. You said, what? One of his friends hissed. I told you about my respect. That line. Man, that line wasn't just a clapback. That was a warning shot, and everybody there knew it. D4v shrugged it off at first, smiling that cocky grin he's known for, but underneath, you could see it. The nerves, the calculation, the what now moment. People forget, but in this game, your family seeing your cracks is like handing the blueprint of your empire to a stranger. Somebody leaked clips from that night. Not the songs, not the freestyles, but the arguments, the small exchanges that revealed bigger truths. You hear D4V talking about deals. People owe him respect. Streets owe him loyalty. Then, in a tone quieter than anyone expected, you hear his parents asking questions, the kind that make you stop the video, rewind, and wonder. Are they scared? Are they angry? Or are they just seeing something they can't ignore? But here's what people don't understand. This wasn't just about a bad investment or a missed check. This was about power, ego, and control. When D4V's parents started looking closer, when they started asking the right questions, they discovered layers of things even his crew didn't fully know. People get it twisted. They think rappers' problems are all studio beefs and Instagram posts. Nah, sometimes. It's the people closest to you, the ones who raised you, who have the final say in whether you go down the right path or fall off the edge. And that edge, man, it's closer than most think. D4V's crew, tight-knit and loyal to the last, were starting to fracture too. Some were worried about the law, some about enemies he made along the way. Money was missing in places. Words were being said behind backs. And the very foundation of what made D4V untouchable in his eyes was starting to shake. You could see it in his posture, in the clips, in the messages floating around online. He was smart, yeah, but pride got him looking over shoulders more than in the mirror. Then came the day it all changed. The day that made this situation bigger than just a viral headline. Nobody outside the room knew what happened at first, just the whispers and the flashes on the timeline. His parents had made a choice. Some say they walked into a precinct, some say it was a lawyer's office first. But the result? They told what they knew. Everything, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And when they did, that's when D4V's world shifted. The courtroom footage leaked fast. Cameras caught him looking calm on the outside, but those eyes, cold, calculating, like he was trying to figure out which way the game would swing next. His parents, sitting behind him, heads bowed in a mix of shame and resolve. And the public. They went wild. Fans defending him, haters celebrating, everyone in the middle trying to parse truth from gossip. But here's the thing. Once your parents decide the law matters more than blood, your choices shrink. Fast. I talked to someone who was there that day. Won't say names, but they said the silence in that room was heavier than any bass drop D4V ever had on a track. Nobody spoke, unless spoken to. Eyes shifting like shadows. You could almost hear the words that weren't said: regret, anger, disbelief. And through it all, D4V stayed quiet, letting the reality sink in. This wasn't a diss track. This wasn't a fan feud. This was real life, hitting harder than any verse he ever spit. And here's the part people don't realize. D4V's parents didn't snitch because they hated him. Nah, that's the twist that's getting lost in the headlines. They apologized, yeah, but that apology was heavy. Not sorry for embarrassing you, but sorry it came to this. We couldn't watch you go down and pretend it ain't happening. Street code. Family loyalty, all clashing in a way most people can't even wrap their heads around. It's one thing to say your family got your back. It's another to see them sidestep you because the consequences are bigger than love. But let's not get it twisted. D4V's not some victim. He made choices, crossed lines, and pushed boundaries until the walls closed in. The escalation. Leaked texts, late-night calls, people disappearing off his timeline. Little things building up to something unavoidable. And when it all collided in that courtroom, it was more than a legal sentence. It was a lesson, a cautionary tale, and a viral moment rolled into one. Now, the streets are talking about who's next, how loyalty gets tested, and whether anyone can really trust the people closest to them in this game. And honestly, nobody's sure if D4V will come back the same. Reputation, respect, power, all of it can vanish in a heartbeat when the ones you thought had your back turn the page. And that, my people, is the part nobody's ready for. Y'all think this is just a headline? Just a trending topic? Nah, this is deeper. Way deeper. Family, trust, ego, money, law, all colliding in a way that's messy. Raw and realer than anything we've seen this year. People keep asking me, yo, how does a rapper's parents snitch on their own son? Man, it's complicated. And complicated doesn't fit neatly into Instagram captions or Twitter threads. The next part? That's when things get wild. Escalation, turning points. The moment D4v realized nothing, not loyalty, not fame, not money could shield him from the consequences. And trust me, there's footage, texts, and leaked conversations that will make y'all question every assumption you had about loyalty in the rap game. This ain't over. Not by a long shot. Now, here's where things start getting messy. Y'all gotta understand, once D4v's parents stepped into that precinct, once the courtroom doors closed behind them, the game changed. Not just for him, for everyone in his circle. Loyalty, respect, reputation, all the things that used to be untouchable started to feel fragile. And the streets, they were buzzing. Clips leaked, deems surfaced, and suddenly everyone was looking at D4v different. Some whispering, some shouting, but everybody watching. It all escalated from a series of small betrayals that nobody outside that inner circle even saw coming. People say it started with the money. D4v's hustle wasn't just about music. It was merch, deals, streams, partnerships. Some of it legit, some of it gray. And the gray. That's where the trouble brewed. Friends who had been down from day one started questioning whether the loyalty they gave was really returned. Little arguments and DMs about cash turned into real confrontations. "You owe me respect," one said. "Nah, this ain't over, bro," another fired back. You can almost feel the tension radiating through every leaked clip. Then came the leaks. Oh, the leaks. There were short videos from inside the studio. Arguments, fingers pointed, voices shaking, all shared on private channels before hitting the public. And the thing about these clips, they weren't just drama. They were evidence, whether anyone wanted to admit it or not. People saw D4v talking about moves he'd made, people he'd crossed, deals he'd ignored. And then, the shots fired in real life. Not bullets, but words, texts, threats that weren't meant for public eyes. You could feel the paranoia creeping in. Here's what people don't understand. This wasn't a simple rap beef scenario. Nah, this was deeper. This was trust being tested on multiple fronts: crew, fans, family. And in D4v's world, that trust wasn't just abstract. It was currency. Lose it, and the game flips. Some of his crew started disappearing from his social media. Some stayed, posting supportive comments, but even that looked suspicious. Loyalty had a price tag, and now everyone was wondering who was willing to pay. The turning point? That's when the real heartbreak hit. D4v got wind that one of his closest friends, someone who'd been down since the first mixtape, was talking to the authorities. Not necessarily snitching yet, but feeding info, building a case in whispers. When he confronted him, it wasn't polite. "You said what?" "I told you about my respect." The guy tried to laugh it off, but you could hear the panic in his voice. That moment right there changed everything. Meanwhile, his parents weren't just silent observers anymore. They were making moves behind the scenes, lawyers meeting, documents signed, statements drafted, and D4v. He saw it coming too late. He tried to spin it, to control it, but the narrative had already shifted. Court dates were set, videos surfaced, fans flooded the comment sections with opinions, and the streets. They started placing bets on who'd survive this fallout. Not everyone understood the full story, but everyone knew the outcome was serious. There's an emotional layer here that gets missed in all the noise. D4v wasn't just facing legal consequences, he was facing the emotional consequences of betrayal, public shaming, and the realization that family could and did choose law over loyalty. And that's a lesson in ego, pride, and power. You can't buy it, you can't rap your way out of it, and you can't tweet it away. The fallout hits different when it comes from the people who raised you. But here's the irony. D4v's own pride, the thing that got him here, also fueled his rise. He built a name on confidence, on fearlessness, on taking risks others wouldn't touch. And that same risk-taking, it pushed him into the mistakes that led to the courtroom. Friends, associates, even street allies started reevaluating where he stood. Some still ride or die, but the doubts are out there now. Doubts that can't be unsaid. Doubts that turn casual whispers into full-blown public speculation. Now imagine being inside that courtroom. Cameras flashing, reporters scribbling notes. D4v's parents sitting there like statues, eyes forward. You could see it in D4v's jawline, the tension in his hands, all the bravado. All the bravado of the internet stripped away. And when the judge read parts of the statements, parts of the evidence, parts of the parents' testimony, you could hear the collective intake of breath even through the live stream. Leaked texts made rounds after that. One read, "I can't believe they did this." Another, "We tried, but the truth came first." The emotional undercurrent here is insane. People want to frame it as betrayal, but it's more complicated. It's survival, morality, and the cold calculus of reality. The same streets that raised D4v to fame were now watching him face consequences for decisions he thought he could control. And the sad part? Nobody's coming to save him. Fame don't mean nothing when the system moves, when family moves, when loyalty fractures. And here's what I think a lot of people are missing. This isn't just a story about D4v getting sentenced. It's a microcosm of the rap game itself. Ego versus loyalty. Street code versus law. Family versus ambition. You watch D4v on Instagram, you hear the bars, you see the flexes. But the real story is in the gaps, the conversations nobody records. The glances, the pauses, the moments before the phone comes out and the cameras roll. Those are the moments that shape legends or cautionary tales. It gets messier. After the courtroom, rumors started flying. People saying certain crew members were reconsidering partnerships. Others said contracts might be null, deals might be delayed. And the fans split. Some still ride hard for D4v, claiming the charges are exaggerated, that the parents overreacted. Others say he got what he deserved. Every comment, every clip, every repost adds another layer. And in this world, layers aren't just stories, they're leverage. One thing is for sure. D4v's story now carries weight beyond the charts. It's a lesson on discipline, loyalty, ego, and consequences. And the suspense. It ain't over. The people who watched him rise are still watching him navigate this fallout. The industry insiders are talking, lawyers are talking, even the streets are talking. Every move he makes from here on out is scrutinized, analyzed, and dissected. And the most chilling part, nobody knows how he'll play it next. I'll leave y'all with this. Sometimes, in the rap game, the hardest hits don't come from rivals, haters, or beefs. They come from the people closest to you, the ones you think would die for you. And when that hit lands, it shakes you in ways no verse, no beat, no headline can capture. D4v's parents stepping forward. That's that hit. That's the reality check. That's the line that separates legend from cautionary tale. Stick around, cause the next chapter. That's when we dive into the aftermath, the bigger picture, and the long-term fallout, both in the streets and in the charts. And trust me, y'all aren't ready for the stuff that's about to surface. The fallout hit harder than anyone expected. When D4v stepped out of that courtroom, the streets weren't just talking, they were buzzing like a live wire. Clips from inside had already gone viral. And every angle of his parents' apology and testimony was circulating faster than any track he'd ever dropped. Some fans were shouting "snitch." Others were crying truth. But the reality? This wasn't about fans, likes, or comments. This was about consequences hitting different, the kind you can't auto-tune or flex away. D4v's crew. Fractured. Some stayed tight, claiming loyalty above all, posting vague captions like "real, recognize real," and "ride or die forever." Others quietly ghosted, disappearing from his socials, removing themselves from deals, even stepping back from the studio sessions. You could feel it in the vibe, like the air around D4v got thinner, heavier, sharper, and he felt it too. Some sources said he started showing up late to shoots, taking shorter freestyles, looking over shoulders more than at the camera. The energy shift was real. The industry, watching. Labels, managers, promoters, they all got the memo. Some paused deals, others tightened contracts, and a few quietly started distancing themselves. Reputation, they realized, could be tarnished faster than streams could spike. And let's be real, in rap, perception is currency. Lose that, and even the hottest record can't save you. Fans took sides too. The comment sections exploded. He got played by his own blood. Parents don't snitch for no reason. Loyalty over everything. Each post was a debate, a moral wrestling match between ego, empathy, and what people thought they knew about family, street code, and justice. You could almost map the psychology of the internet through the threads. Some supporting Nate, some supporting, some judging, all talking, all watching, all waiting for the next move. And then there were the texts and leaked clips that didn't make the news. Late-night conversations, apologies. Breakdowns. People close to D4v describing him as haunted and angry but calculating. The paranoia grew. Who can you trust? Who's really loyal? Even those who ride or die start thinking twice when the system steps in and your own blood flips the script. That's a lesson that runs deeper than any diss track could ever teach. But here's the bigger picture. This story isn't just about D4v getting sentenced. It's a reflection of the rap game itself. Loyalty versus law, ego versus morality, fame versus consequence. We live in a world where moments get recorded, leaked, and dissected instantly, where family ties can be weaponized, intentionally or not, and where every move is a potential headline. And the reality? This is the kind of environment that shapes careers, shapes legends, and sometimes shapes cautionary tales. D4v's sentencing. Heavy, but not the end. Some insiders hint at appeals, comebacks, reinventions. Others whisper that he's already plotting ways to regain control over his music, his brand, his narrative. That's the duality of this story. While consequences hit hard, ambition doesn't die. You can get knocked down Butan this game. The real test is how you rise. And yet, despite the drama, there's a lesson that can't be ignored. Street code, family loyalty, ego, ambition, all collide in ways that are unpredictable, painful, and public. D4v's story is a warning and a teaching moment rolled into one. Nothing is untouchable. No loyalty is guaranteed, and sometimes the ones closest to you are the ones who force you to see the truth. That truth hurts. That truth changes everything. So what does this mean for hip-hop? For the streets? For anyone watching from the outside? It means respect and loyalty aren't just words on a track. They're actions, decisions, and sometimes consequences you can't avoid. It means that power, fame, and money don't shield you from reality. And it means the stories behind the headlines, the ones that don't get fully told on Instagram or TikTok, are the ones that define a legacy. For better or worse, now, here's where you come in. Think about what happened with D4v. His parents stepped forward, they told the truth, they apologized. Did they do the right thing, or did they go too far? And D4v, he's facing the consequences of choices he made and choices he didn't see coming. How would you have handled it? What's loyalty worth when the law comes knocking? When family questions you, when everything you built feels like it could vanish in a heartbeat? Drop your thoughts below and make sure you subscribe, because this story, it ain't over. Not even close. We've seen the rise, the betrayal, the courtroom drama, the fallout. Next moves, comebacks, revelations, all of it is still ahead. And trust me, when D4v decides to speak, or when new clips leak, y'all are gonna feel it. In the meantime, think about the lesson here. Power and fame can't protect you. Ego and ambition can't shield you. Loyalty, family, and trust, that's the currency that matters. And sometimes, even that isn't enough. The rap game is bigger than any one person, but stories like this, they remind us why respect and truth always cut deeper than bars, streams, or likes. So, what y'all think about this situation? Did D4v's parents do the right thing or go too far? Could he have handled it differently? Or was this the inevitable fallout of choices made too fast, too young, too confident? Drop your thoughts below and make sure you subscribe, because this story is far from over, and the next chapter, way deeper than anything we've already seen. Now, here's the part most people don't talk about, the psychological aftermath. Y'all seen the clips, the texts, the courtroom footage, but what goes on behind the camera? Behind the Instagram posts and viral TikToks? D4v wasn't just facing legal consequences, he was facing a mental reckoning. His world flipped from one where he called the shots, controlled the narrative, ran the studio, and flexed online, to one where his own parents' words carried more weight than any tweet or track ever could. Friends close to him say he's quieter now, more calculated. Gone are the impulsive posts, the immediate clapbacks to critics. Now it's long pauses, late-night walks, staring at ceilings, thinking about every move he ever made. It's like he's seeing the game from a new angle, one source said. Everything he thought was loyalty, everything he thought was untouchable. It's all fragile. That fragility, that's the dangerous edge. That's where the next mistakes get made. And let's talk about the fans. The fans split hard, some calling him a victim, some calling him a traitor, some just watching to see how this unfolds. In rap culture, image is everything. Streams don't just represent success, they represent trust, perception, and relevance. When you lose that trust, even the biggest fan base can turn cold. And D4v, he's feeling that heat. Every comment section, every mention, every video reaction is like a mirror showing the cracks in his empire. Then there's the internet sleuths. The ones who analyze every leaked DM, every snippet of court audio, every subtle gesture in a video. They're turning personal pain into public spectacle. And D4v, he knows they're out there, taking mental notes on how he reacts, dissecting every apology, every post, every hint of a comeback. That kind of pressure can break you or build you, and in his case, it's both. Family dynamics, complex. His parents stepping forward. That created a permanent fracture in the personal narrative. People love to frame it as betrayal, but the reality is murkier. They claim they did it out of love, out of a sense of morality, a sense of responsibility. But D4v sees it differently, as exposure, as public humiliation, as a reset of power he never wanted anyone else to control. And here's the thing about that power shift. Once it happens, it can't be undone. It leaves scars, not just in reputation, but in psyche, the industry angle. Big labels, independent managers, promoters, they're reading the story like a textbook on risk management. D4v's talent is undeniable, but when legal issues mix with family drama, contracts get rewritten, offers get paused, deals evaporate. A single misstep now carries the weight of public perception, street credibility, and financial consequence all at once. It's a cocktail that's lethal if mishandled. And in a culture that glorifies instant gratification, D4v's patience and strategy are being tested like never before. Leaked conversations paint another picture. D4v talking to crew members. "We move careful now. Nothing public. No stupid flexes." Crew replying, "Nah bro, you can't hide from this." Streets are watching. Fans are watching. Labels are watching. You can almost hear the tension, the fear, the frustration in the lines. It's not just paranoia, it's strategy. Every decision now is weighed against consequences he never fully considered before. And that's where legacy comes into play. Before this, D4v was just a rising star. Streams up, reputation solid, respect in the streets. After this, his story is bigger than music. It's about choices, consequences, family, loyalty, trust. It's about a cautionary tale for anyone thinking fame and street credibility shield you from reality. And for some, that makes him a legend. For others, a warning. Either way, it's permanent. The aftermath isn't just emotional. There's financial, legal, and social fallout too. Deals paused, partnerships reconsidered, appearances canceled. Fans speculate on contracts and earnings like Wall Street traders, dissecting every figure, every post, every caption. D4v's moves now have multiple layers of consequence. He's not just an artist. He's a case study in trust, consequence, and reputation. And let's get real. Nobody recovers from public parental snitching the same way. Even if D4v drops a platinum album tomorrow, even if he goes viral again, even if he proves himself in the streets, the narrative has changed. That courtroom moment, those statements, that apology, they're permanent. Social media never forgets. Streams never erase context. Every headline from here on will reference it in some way, shaping perception. That's a legacy-shaping event. But there's also resilience. People close to D4v insist he's plotting, recalibrating, thinking about the long game. He's learning, one insider said. Not just from legal fallout, but from human behavior, from trust, from ego. And that's the part that's scary in a good way. He's absorbing the lesson, calculating the next move. That's how legends are born from chaos. Not when everything goes right, but when everything goes wrong and you survive. Smarter, sharper, more aware. The streets are watching too. Local crews, independent artists, casual fans, everyone sees the ripple effects. D4v's story is now part of the local lore. Part of the cautionary tales whispered in studios, ciphers, and street corners. It's about respect, yes, but also about strategy, morality, and consequence. The same streets that lift you up can watch you fall, and that fall now has a name, a face, and a story. The emotional residue lingers. Friends questioning loyalty, parents questioning morality, fans questioning justice. Every text, every DM, every comment is another layer of pressure. And in that pressure, decisions become sharper, mistakes more dangerous, and trust even more valuable. D4v's story now serves as a reflection of a system bigger than him, the rap industry. Social media, street culture, and family expectations all colliding. And the final lesson: even in rap, even in the streets, even in the digital age, consequences are real. Actions, words, and loyalty aren't just symbolic. They carry weight. And sometimes the consequences come from the people closest to you. Parents, crew, associates, they shape your narrative as much as your talent. And when that narrative flips, the spotlight doesn't just shine, it burns. So where does D4V go from here? That's the million-dollar question. Will he rise, reinvent, and reclaim control? Will the streets forgive, the fans support, the industry invest again? Or will this be a cautionary tale that overshadows talent and potential forever? The suspense isn't just viral, it's existential for him, for his crew, for the fans, and for the culture watching every move. Bottom line, this story isn't just headlines or viral clips. It's a living, breathing lesson on trust, loyalty, ego, ambition, and consequence. And the next chapter. Only time will tell. D4v's path, choices, and actions from here on out will determine whether this becomes a story of redemption, reinvention, or regret. So, what y'all think? Could you handle this kind of pressure? What would you do if family, loyalty, and fame collided in a courtroom? Drop your thoughts below and hit subscribe, because the streets, the game, and the culture are watching. And when D4v moves next, you're gonna feel it, whether you're ready or not. And that's the story, y'all. D4v's parents stepped up, spoke out, and the consequences hit harder than anyone imagined. It's not just about a courtroom or a sentence. It's about loyalty, trust, and the weight of choices. Street code says, ride or die. But sometimes the people closest to you force you to see a truth you didn't want to face. That's heavy. That's real. That cuts deeper than any diss track or viral clip. What this all means for hip-hop. It means the game isn't just bars, beats, or streams. It's about strategy, psychology, relationships, and consequences. Every move gets noticed. Every word has a weight, and every loyalty has a limit. D4v's story isn't just drama. It's a lesson for anyone in the culture. Your reputation, your family, your crew, they matter. And when they clash, the fallout can define you forever. But here's the thing, this ain't the end. D4v's path is still unfolding. Redemption, reinvention, comeback, all possible. The streets, the fans, the labels, they're watching, taking notes, waiting for the next move. And that's the power of a story like this. It doesn't just entertain, it teaches, it warns, and it challenges everyone watching to think about what they'd do if it happened to them. So, I want to hear from y'all. What do you think about this situation? Did his parents do the right thing, or did they cross a line? Could D4v handle it differently, or was this inevitable? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let the discussion ride. And make sure you hit that subscribe button because this story is far from over. And trust me, the next chapter is coming. And it's gonna hit way deeper than what we've already seen. The lesson's out there. The streets are listening, and the game keeps moving. Are you watching closely enough?